It's that time again for another 20 bucks spin video. We're gonna unbox. This came in on Saturday. I haven't opened it yet, but I know that I know what it is. I was gone all weekend for my son's dance competition, but here it is. The new Terminal Nation album, Echoes of the Devil's Den. This does not come out until this Friday. What's the date on Friday? I don't know. I can never remember what the date is for anything. May 3rd. So yeah, got it. 20 bucks spin was awesome, and they got it to me so early. So if you've got this on pre-order, they're coming. They're working through it. So I figured I'd do a little bit of unboxing and talk about it today. So I've had the promo for about a month now, and so I've listened to this album several times, and I gotta say, I really like this album, which is not surprising, I'm sure, for a lot of people. I was a really big fan of their first album, Holocene Extinction. I showed this off on the channel back when this first came out, so this is their second full-length album. The band is out of Arkansas. Holocene came out, was it 2020? I remember it was during the pandemic. Yep, 2020. So the one thing that I noticed about this, now before I crack it open and start talking about the music and stuff, is the aesthetics of the tapes are the same, and I really like that they did that. Logo, image, title of the album, and then on the side the spines are similar. Then on the back, just a little bit different on the J card, but that's about it. So I like that they did that. I don't know, just a small minor detail that I noticed. But anyway, this was a really good album. I was a huge fan of this album. I talked about it on my channel back in 2020. It's hard to believe it's been that long already. This is probably one of the first like hardcore sounding album that I ever showed off on here. And this is about as close to hardcore as I get for listening. So if you're not familiar with Terminal Nation, they are a death metal band that infuses that hardcore sound into it. I don't know the official term of that genre of music, but that is the one thing that I generally am not very well versed in is hardcore music. I cannot talk to a lot of the bands or anything like that. It's not a genre that I've ever really deep dove into, but that is one of the things about this album and this band that I overall enjoy, though. So maybe I should, go into some hardcore deep dives and try and find some new music to listen to, but I don't really feel like it right now. I'm good for now. But this is pretty much very similar to the first album, I will say, but heavier. I think their music writing is definitely heavier. I feel like Stan's vocals are a little bit more punishing than they were on this album, and overall, I enjoy this album a lot more, which is good because I was a huge fan of this record, and I still listen to this quite a bit. Like, this is definitely a frequent spin of mine. If I'm in the mood for just heavy crushing music that is energizing and like a hammer to the head, just something that I'm familiar, comfortable with, really enjoyed, this album was one that I would definitely spin a lot, and I still will. I absolutely still will. God, I still love that album artwork too. And this now is going back into the ranks of that. So let's crack it open. So I'm excited to see that they did this style of a tape. I like that like white cloudy tape color. I think that looks cool. I don't have very many tapes that are like that. So I was surprised to see that. For some reason I thought it would just be a similar trans red tape like the last one, but I'm glad they went this route. Just a little minor aesthetic thing there. But here is the J card. Picture of the band and some liner notes here. If you are not familiar with the artist, that is Adam Burke, or Nightjar Illustration if you follow him on social media. A phenomenal artist. He does amazing work for a lot of other metal bands as well. So I'm a huge fan of that artwork. I gotta get the shirt. So so there's the band names, band picture. Then here's the spine of the songs. And on this side, oh, that looks sick. I haven't seen this yet, so as you know, because I just opened it. Lyrics on this side. So, and then Terminal Nation versus Everybody. That's awesome. So, all right. Tape approved. I really, really like that layout. Really nice J card. This tape looks awesome with it. So just a comparison, like I said, the aesthetics are pretty much the same for this. However, the tape, they did went this route, but for the most part, this is this tape, same kind of feel, however, just a little bit of a different layout. But the artwork for this is awesome as well. And here are the credits for it. But yeah, this was also Adam Burke as well. So I figured I'd show that since I had it off the shelf. I don't think I've ever shown the tape of this album on this channel. I've shown off the record, but I never showed the tape. So I figured I'll take it off from the vault and show it to you guys since we're talking about this album here. So this album is 12 tracks, about 45 minutes long. Easy listen if I'm going to be honest with you. And when I say that, I mean, for me personally, it clicked right away from the very first song, Echoes of the Devil's End, which is the title track, the album track name. And it goes right into Written by the Victor. Both heavy songs to start off the album. The Spikes Under the Bridge is another heavy song. That you got Stan's vocals, who just goes from that like hardcore kind of scream to that death metal growl. It blends really well. It's a unique sound. I really, really, really enjoy that they do that with this album and their past albums. Like, that's the overall uniqueness of this band that I really enjoy, is how Stan does his vocals. On top of the HM2 buzzsaw guitars, the chunky bass, and then just the hammer pounding of the drums. This band is heavy. It is a moshing band. I'm sure they're fucking awesome live. I've never seen them live. I would love to see them live. New Reform, New Slave Patrol is probably... No Reform, sorry. New Slave Patrol, the fourth song, is probably one of my favorite songs on this album. Man, it's a hype song. It gets you pumped up. And then as soon as you get into that track, it goes into Embers of Humanity, which is a full instrumental track. So this was something a little bit different from this album. They did a little bit of a sound progression here. They did Embers of Inhumanity, which is an instrumental track, and it's so good. It gets you in the feelings, I guess you could say. It has a little bit of reminiscence of old school Metallica in that regard. So we get a little bit of a sound change here with that, and it goes right into Merchants of Bloodshed, which was their single that they released with Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage. I am not a Killswitch Engage fan whatsoever. So Embers ends the... side A. Interesting. Okay. I like how they broke that up. So Merchants of Bloodshed is the single that they released with Jesse Leach of Killswitch, like I just said. I'm not a huge fan of Killswitch Engage, like, at all. I like Jesse Leach's voice, though, and I think it goes really, really well on this song. It's a really good song, and the overall lyrical content of this song is also very good. Just the writing, the meanings behind it. Actually, this whole entire album is like that, and if you know Terminal Nation, they don't stray away from the messaging of what's going on in the world, I guess you could say. People call them a political band. I don't like to say that, because then it immediately lumps them into like the radicalism of metal. I just think that they speak their voice. I mean, it's hardcore. I mean, that's the hardcore aspect of this, right? Hardcore's just known for that. So the social and political issues, they're very, very open about, and obviously I agree with a lot of it, if not more. So that probably makes me a biased listener for enjoying that. But Merchants of Bloodshed was definitely one of my favorite songs on this album. I immediately did not listen to that song before getting the promo. So it was a nice surprise for me. When I heard the extra vocals, I was like, who is that? And I was surprised to see Jesse Leach, but also pretty cool. I mean, Killswitch Engage is big. They've got a huge following. They're a very successful band. And obviously they were fans of this band, because otherwise he wouldn't be on this album. So I think that that's pretty cool. A lot of people fucking gripe about shit like that, but whatever. Terminal Nation is an underground band. Not a lot of people know about them. If that gets them a little bit more exposure, then I'm happy for them, because they deserve that success. So, and then from there, I think Merchants of Bloodshed really, really rounds out this album. It starts off the B side of the album, and just the final 4 to 5 to 6 tracks, six tracks on this album I think are just the cream of the crop of this album. So it's definitely not a front-loaded album. The whole entire album is good. There's not a single filler on here. And then Relapse or Release the Serpents is also just a really good ending track. So overall, I'm a huge fan of this album. Again, I've listened to it for several weeks now. It has been a morning routine. Terminal Nation and coffee for me. And it's nice that I finally have a physical format of it because I was tired of streaming it from my computer, because you get like 3 listens, and then after 3 listens, they're like, hey, if you didn't download the files, you're fucked. You can't listen to it again with the promos. So I download the files to my computer, and it's nice to just be able to finally put this on my stereo, so I'm excited about it. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this band. So both of these are still available on 20 Bucks Spin. There's obviously vinyls and CDs and shirts and everything. And they just reissued this. This was a repress because it was out of stock for a while. So if you're looking for it, go grab it. It's definitely a great album. Huge fan of this band. Shout out to Terminal Nation. We engage with each other every once in a while on Twitter. Congrats on the new album. Again, this comes out this Friday. Check it out, May 3rd. 20 Bucks Spin. Man, they can do no wrong for me this year. Say What You Want. Fucking great label. Great album. Check them out. That's all I have today. See you guys in the next one.